Muslims use Surah 532 to show that Islam does not allow acts such as the Fort Hood shootings. And interestingly, they completely rip it out of context. They ignore the verses that come before it. They ignore the verses that come after it. And they even take out parts of the verse itself in order to deceive people into thinking that this verse prohibits and condemns killing. Now, the reason this is so disturbing is now it's even being put out without without giving a reference, so that no one can even look it up. And not just on private blogs or in conversation, but from major media organizations. This is according to CNN. A Muslim named Arsalan Iftikhar wrote an article. It was published on CNN. The article is titled, "Murder Has No Religion," and he begins. This is the only evidence he gives. He begins, "Most of the world's 1.57 billion Muslims know that the Holy Qur'an states quite clearly that anyone who kills a human being, it shall be as though he has killed all of mankind. If anyone saves a life, it shall be as though he has saved the lives of all mankind." Notice how he quotes this passage, because think about what the passage actually says when I quote it to you. As he has described it for his Western readers who aren't familiar with the Quran, the passage reads, "Anyone who kills a human being, it shall be as though he has killed all mankind." So anyone who kills someone, it is as though he killed all mankind. This is what the Quran teaches. So if you're a Fort Hood shooter, should you be killing anyone? No, anyone you kill, it's as if you're killing all mankind, and you obviously shouldn't kill all mankind. Now, when we are given a passage, we have to consider various things. One, we certainly want to consider what the verse actually says, rather than the verse as it's been altered and dissected by Muslim propagandists in the West. And also, we want to consider the context. What is the point of the verse? What came before it? What came after it? These are the things we want to look to. And when we look to this context for this passage, it means the exact opposite of what this Muslim is saying it means. First of all, let me just give to you what the actual verse itself says before he altered it and took parts out. This is what the verse actually says. "For this reason did we prescribe to the children of Israel." Notice what this says. This isn't saying, "and we have revealed to you Muslims." This is saying that this is a law that was given to the Jews, the children of Israel, and this comes from the Talmud. Interestingly, it's not a revelation from God at all. It's a comment by a Jewish rabbi. But he says, "For this reason did we prescribe to the children of Israel, that whoever slays a soul, unless it be for manslaughter or for mischief in the land," unless it be for manslaughter or for mischief in the land. He cut that part out. He cut out the part about this being for the Jews, and he cut out the part about you being allowed to kill people for spreading mischief in the land or for manslaughter. "It is as though he slew all men, and whoever keeps it alive, it is as though he kept alive all men. And certainly our apostles came to them with clear arguments, but even after that, many of them certainly act extravagantly in the land." So just by looking at what the verse actually says, again, he didn't give us the reference so that people can't look it up. So if you don't know what the reference is, you're just stuck. But when we include the actual context, we see, one, that this was meant for the Jews, and two, that it doesn't say if you kill anyone, it's as if you killed all mankind. It says if you kill anyone, apart from these reasons for killing them, then it's as if you killed all mankind. Now, what happens when we consider the verses that come before it and the verses that come after it? This verse is sort of the conclusion of a passage about Cain and Abel. So Cain decided to kill Abel, and Abel says in the Quran, if you raise up your sword against me, I'm not going to raise up my sword against you. I will not defend myself if you come to kill me, Cain. Now, think about that. Can Muslims apply this situation to themselves? Can they say, this situation applies to us? Of course they can't. Of course they can't. Muslims believe they can defend themselves, and that if someone is coming to kill them, they can raise up their swords to defend themselves. So I don't see how a Muslim can ever apply this passage to Muslims in general, and they wouldn't want to, except for the fact that they can misuse the conclusion of this verse. So that's what we have, and Cain, of course, kills Abel, and then a bird comes and teaches Cain how to bury Abel. And then we have the verse about Allah prescribing for the children of Israel based on this situation, that if anyone slays someone, unless it's for manslaughter or for making mischief in the land, it'll be as if he has killed all mankind. And now we've considered the context before, and let's consider the verse after. The punishment of those who wage war against Allah and His apostle and strive to make mischief in the land is only this, that they should be murdered or crucified, or their hands and their feet should be cut off in opposite sides, or they should be imprisoned. This shall be a disgrace for them in this world, and in the hereafter they shall have a grievous chastisement. So here we have a passage that is clearly applied to Muslims. The very next verse, so this man quotes 532, says, this condemns killing anyone. What does the very next verse say? The punishment of those who wage war against Allah, so you're fighting against Islam, you're fighting against Muslims, and strive to make mischief in the land if you're causing problems in Muslim lands. The punishment for this is that they should be murdered or crucified, or that their hands and feet are cut off, or that they be imprisoned. Think about this, because when we go to the commentators, we find out what these terms mean, what it means for spreading mischief in the land. Spreading mischief in the land can apply to all things, all kinds of things. Spreading Christianity or Judaism among Muslims, apostasy. Definitely, if you're bringing a military into a predominantly Muslim country and trying to conquer or enforce your own sort of government on them, this will qualify as spreading mischief in the land. But what we find is that if you're waging war against Islam, if you're in a war against Muslims, or if you're in Muslim countries trying to spread trouble, according to Islam, then Muslims are supposed to kill you. Think about Fort Hood. It's a military base, the military base of the United States of America, which is in a war with more than one predominantly Muslim country. The people who were killed were mostly people who are about to be deployed to these Muslim countries to go and, according to Islam, spread mischief, enforce the will of the United States in these countries. According to this very verse and the verse that follows, that this Muslim quoted on CNN to show that Islam is peaceful and would never allow a Muslim to fight against military targets here in the United States. According to the very passage he quoted, when we look at the context and when we quote the entire verse, are Muslims allowed to kill United States soldiers who aren't Muslims on a United States military base? Of course. The United States is making mischief and it's at war in Muslim countries. The very passage he's quoting specifically declares that a Muslim can kill these people. And Muslims twist it and make it sound as if this passage says that you can't. This is outright deception, and they get away with it not just in one-on-one conversations, but on the major media networks. And if you inform the media of this, if you call up CNN and say, let me tell you what this passage actually says, hey, read the entire verse, not how he misquoted it. Read the next verse and see what it says. Let's pull out the commentaries. Let's see what these passages mean. It's obvious what they mean. Of course this guy's misusing the passage. They will not care. It will not bother them that they are being used by Muslims to spread deception about Islam.